welcome to another day of This Is Not Therapy. Hi,
Good morning.
Kari.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Yeah. What's your unfiltered moment?
Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I have had a morning and I screamed in my car today like 4 times on the way to driving here.
Yeah.
I've had a morning. Like, with everything that's happening in our world, you know, that's not just the only thing that's happening. It's like life is still going to life.
Yeah.
So just
On top of it.
Yeah, on top of it. So
I think we can all relate.
A lot. So I needed to clear that energy out of myself. And you and I had a nice little chat this morning. Yeah. Just like,
and we tell
let it
our
out.
clients all the time, like,
Yeah,
that's a really good
scream.
way to release,
Yep.
to shake it out, to dance it out, to even scream.
Absolutely.
And I always say, scream in your car, turn on a song that you can just scream along to.
Yeah.
I feel like Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone, would be a good one to just like belt, like, yeah, scream it.
Little Kay Clarkson.
Yeah.
So if you haven't tried that before, that's a super great coping skill. I do feel much better than I did when I got
It's
in
a
the
good
car.
release and you're not hurting anyone.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Right. Yeah. How about you?
Well, I feel like we're going with some, I mean, I wouldn't say screaming in your car is unhinged, but I mean, my moment is a little bit unhinged.
I love it.
So,
yeah, you're only human. Let's hear it.
well, yeah, these are human moments. I got my bangs cut a couple weeks ago. Do you remember?
Yeah.
You're
I
like,
totally forgot
where
about
did
that.
your bangs
Where did
go?
they go? Does she have fake hair filling them in? I cannot believe I forgot this. You sent me a photo. I was like, super cute. What happened?
We'll post the photo on our Instagram, so follow along.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh.
Where's the bangs?
So I came home and my partner did not have a kind response to my bangs. I was like, oh no.
That feels awesome.
Oh.
Did you know you were going to do it?
No.
Okay. So
it really caught him off guard. He was giving our son a bath and I come in and he's like, what is happening? I get it.
Surprise bangs.
It was in January when everything was going on.
Yeah.
I feel like it was my way of trying to bring some control back into my life. Being like, there's something else I can fixate on.
Absolutely fair.
But, you know, aside from my partner's comment, I took a look at them and I was like,
oh,
I tried to style them a couple times. I just did not like them.
It wasn't it.
They're not vibing. They're not. So here they are, guys. Here, I can show you.
Oh my gosh. They blend so well. Don't mess up your hair just for us. Oh my God. I thought they were super cute for the record. Like with a pony, I thought you could totally pull them off.
Yeah, I tried for a couple days and I wasn't feeling it. It's like, what did I do?
This is amazing that you can disguise them. Like I have not even noticed.
Yeah, I know. I'm so lucky.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a lot of good product or what is going on?
There's nothing in here. I don't know. My hair, just, I don't know.
Even when you have your hair up in a bun. Are you
Oh, that was like, yeah, a bobby pin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
secret for you guys. Look back, watch back the other episodes and see if you can.
Everybody's zooming in. Where's the bobby pins?
We see my bangs.
Oh my God. Well, thanks for the share. You know, crazy times call for crazy moves.
Well, speaking of crazy moves, today we're talking about sex.
That's a beautiful segue.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Crazy moves. Yeah. If y'all are in therapy, I'm curious, are you talking about sex in your sessions?
Yeah. Because it is definitely something that comes up in therapy quite often.
Yeah.
But I think it is so brave to bring it up.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever brought up anything about sex to my own therapist, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of therapists shy away from talking about sex too, because it's like, oh my God, am I going to make them feel uncomfortable? And is my own conditioning, programming going to come up and then I'm going to feel awkward and make them feel awkward. But I think, you know, I'm a couples therapist and I try to just normalize it and name it from the get-go. These are some topics we're going to talk about. Like sex is a big part of relationships. So here goes.
Yeah. And as a relational therapist, even if you are working with individuals, it is such a big part of relationships because it's a normal part of being a human being is sex.
Right.
Yeah.
And the the more we don't talk about it, the more it will live in the shadows and the more people will feel awkward bringing it up. So
feel some shame.
yeah, you know what? I just feel like, I don't know, even if you're not in therapy, like find a safe person that you can open up to, just like bring the topic up, you know, like let's make it not weird.
Right. Do you have any friends that you feel comfortable talking about sex with?
Obviously, you got to make sure it's the right person that you feel safe with. So in the what's the name of not being awkward, we're going to talk about sex today. Yeah.
Well, Kari and I were talking about one of our favorite authors that talks about sex, and that is Emily Nagoski in Come As You Are. We both love that book and recommend it very often to clients. I found it so approachable and compassionate and shining so much light on topics that, you know, there might be some myths around, like libidos or sex drives or feeling that shame or like there's something wrong with me if I've kind of withdrawn from having sex as often or don't want to do it as much with my partner. But there is so much gold there and so much information about what's behind that. Why are we less into it right now?
I want to bring up another author too, Vanessa Marin. She has a podcast called Pillow Talks, which is really, really good.
That one.
Yeah. So her deal is she's a sex therapist and her partner, Xander, is just a regular dude. That's like their thing. I'm a sex therapist and he's a regular dude. But they open up a lot about their own sex life. And obviously it's her passion and her career. And she's got a really, really great book too called Sex Talks. It's like 5 conversations you should have.
Wow, I gotta check this out.
That's a really good one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You guys let us know if you've checked it out or if you've heard of it.
Yeah. So let's dive right in. So something that comes up in my therapy space a lot, you know, honestly, I do work with couples, but I'm hearing this a lot with individual women is, you know, eventually they get comfortable in the therapy space and then we're talking about sex and it's like in a heterosexual relationship, typically this is what I'm hearing. Women have lost interest. Men still want to have a physically intimate relationship, but women are losing interest. What's the matter with me? Does this mean our relationship is doomed?
Yeah.
And I think a really important conversation that I often have around this is different response styles to sex. So there's a responsive style and there is a spontaneous style. So this is all about desire.
Yeah.
So very often, and I don't want to generalize, but very often, at least this is what I'm hearing, is that women fall into the camp of being in the responsive group, whereas men more typically are in the spontaneous. Now, this can totally be vice versa too. And actually, I think Vanessa talks about how she's more spontaneous and Xander is responsive. So what this means is for the spontaneous response style, you can see an image of a beautiful person. And now, I could go. I'm in the mood. Let's do this. You could have a memory. A certain smell could remind you of something, and all of a sudden you're turned on, your body could do its thing. So if your partner is that way and you are the responsive style, that can be really tricky.
Yeah, what's the responsive? Tell us.
Responsive is more like, my body will get there, but I'm going to need some time. Maybe I will need some physical touch that's not sexual in nature to feel safe, for my nervous system to relax, right? Especially, I'll just normalize, like a lot of the women that we see are moms or are women that are carrying a lot, whether they're moms or not, busy careers, busy lifestyles, caretaking. And to switch from like caretaking mode or business mode or getting shit done around the house to sex, like on the flip of a coin, that's hard.
Yeah. Well, she talks about that a lot, about those things putting on the brakes. So we'll get to that later.
Totally. So responsive is, I'm going to need some time. I'm going to need some more inputs. I'm going to need, whether that's like, eye contact from your partner, communication, emotional intimacy that helps lead to physical intimacy. That's a big one. Whereas very often we're seeing men, especially physical intimacy, can lead to that emotional intimacy afterward.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. I think what's so hard with our culture too, there's stigma. So if a woman is spontaneous, then she is made to be like,
she's a slut.
Yeah, she's a slut. She's a whore. She's a promiscuous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where there is, if you are spontaneous, like that's why I think it's so helpful to have this framing and this education to know, oh, I just have a spontaneous response style. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me.
No.
This is just
how my brain and body work together, and everybody is different. And I think I want to point out too, this is like very black and white language. You're either spontaneous response style or you're responsive. I think it's a spectrum, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like anything.
Right, exactly. And I think it can really vary based upon where a woman's at in her cycle, if she's still cycling.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Oh my God.
Yeah, probably way more spontaneous. Yeah.
Hell yeah, exactly. Life stressors, all kinds of things. So that's a conversation I really encourage people to have. There's like a quiz on Vanessa's website about like, how do I, what kind of response style is most accurate for me. So sometimes I have couples do that so they can get the information, and then it kind of externalizes it too. It's not so personal. It's like, oh yeah, I checked these things and I fall into this camp. Okay.
Yeah, well, then people can take it personally. They're like, well, if one partner is spontaneous and the other one is responsive, then it's like, well, why aren't you into me? Why don't you want to jump my bones like you used to? Or what's wrong? Why aren't you responding to this?
Yeah.
And that goes into our second point of them not recognizing that there's accelerator and there's a brake. And that comes from Emily Nagoski, where she talks about all the things that put on the brakes for us.
Yeah.
So right now, during everything that's happening in Minnesota in January, there probably are a lot of people that in January might have not been in the mood.
Right.
Because things like that can put on the brakes for us. So stressors can put on the brakes.
We're protecting ourselves. Our nervous systems are in protection mode and not in vulnerability mode, where you can feel open to that kind of connection.
Yeah. As a mom, being touched out or just being really busy at work or being stressed by everything that's going on around you, versus if we have the time to just get a little bit more grounded and regulated, then that puts on that accelerator and other things that help us kind of feel safe and relaxed and tended to and taken care of. So to recognize like, wow, maybe a lot of things are putting on the brakes for me, or even conflict with our partner. If we're not feeling safe with our partner, I know there's this whole thing about like makeup sex, and that's not for everyone either. I think that's been like glamorized in society and in TV of like, oh, and then, we're so mad at each other, but then we're going to have great sex.
Yeah,
that's not everyone either, because that could really put on the brakes for someone.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are just so many factors. So I guess we just want to be really clear, like there's nothing wrong with you. I think it's important to take these factors into consideration, look at your stress load, and then most importantly, like communicate with your partner around this. Okay, so let's talk about initiation styles.
I don't know if I know much about that.
Well, it's got me thinking, like when I say initiating sex, when you think about women's experience in that in general, like what are some conversations that you've been having in your office around initiation?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think once again, it goes back to the stigma in our society and culture of what it means for women to want sex. Like if it's a woman that wants, that has more of that accelerator, or if it is someone naming it or initiating it, then it's like, what does that mean about her? And also that's really vulnerable, because then we fear rejection.
Oh my God. Yeah. What if they say no?
So I have actually talked to many people about rain checks. I don't know if you've...
I love that.
Yeah. So if we initiate sex to our partner and we fear rejection, to have this agreement with our partner of rain checking. So to say, and same if our partner does it. So for us to say, okay, today I am just like feeling a lot. I'm in it, but let's plan for this time, this day. So tomorrow at 7, whatever, when we know that. And then we can do a little bit more of those things to turn on that accelerator and get a little bit more prepared, get a little bit more excited.
Right.
And then it's actually more successful.
Right.
If it's actually planned.
I think people oftentimes feel like, God, that sounds so unsexy. Like you're not seeing that in the movies, people putting sex on the calendar.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like we schedule the things that are priorities for us. And when you talk about the accelerator, I think for a lot of people, especially that we're seeing, women primarily, that can give you less pressure. It can give you like, the brain is our biggest sex organ.
Yeah.
So it can give you time to think about what that might be like and anticipate. And then sometimes that can really add a lot to the experience because you've had time to wrap your head around that and envision it and then
prepare.
Yeah, it's more of a passionate experience maybe or enjoyable, right?
Oh, for sure.
So when we talk about initiation, there are 3 styles. So the first one I want to talk about is direct initiation. So that's going to your partner and saying, do you want to have sex? Very direct. There's no way to misunderstand if they're getting at something. It's like just asking.
Yeah. I didn't know there was any other way besides that.
Yeah. Well, there's subtle initiation too. So that might mean a hug that lasts longer than usual, or a kiss that lingers, or a look, or just some sort of physical connection, or maybe it's words that are spoken that are kind of flirtatious. It's subtle. And then you and your partner are feeling each other out of like, okay, are they trying to make something happen or not? So there's the subtle one.
Yeah. And that's tricky because that can send some people into fight or flight if they feel their partner doing the subtle one, but their brakes are really on. Then it can make them more closed and rigid. And then what does that send to the partner? And it makes them feel rejected. And then it impacts the whole relational dynamic. So this is why sex and relationships is so important. And, that's why we talk about it in therapy.
Now, responsive initiation is going to be the last one. So it's more like invitation based. So it's still going to be like asking, do you want to have sex? But that person is going to be, the responsive person is less open to a direct style. And they're not going to be the ones to initiate, but they are open to an invitation.
Okay.
So whether that's subtly or directly being invited, they're open to that. And it's like, okay, here's a big phrase that I find myself using with clients. Okay, so I'm not in the mood now, but could I get into the mood? So maybe is still a green light. Yes is a green light, obviously. No is a red light, obviously. Maybe is like a yellow light. Like we can decide, okay, if given enough time, sometimes for the person being invited into sex, it's like, let me think about it. I'm not right now, but I could get in the mood. Let me go take a shower. Let me get 20 minutes to myself and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So it's like this invitation, this proposal, and it gives the time to decide and then respond one way or another.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I really like that.
Yeah. I've talked to clients also about, maybe something like laying naked next to each other.
Right.
So that's what it reminds me of when you're in that space of like, okay, maybe we can just like lay naked to each other, next to each other and no pressure, or, have some time to cuddle.
Yep.
I also think about foreplay happening during the day. Do you talk about that?
Yes. Totally. Maybe it's kind of a steamy text that you're sending or receiving. Maybe it's a photo. Maybe it's a longer kiss that lingers, a longer hug, the suggestive language, whatever it is.
Doing kind things, like just making your partner feeling heard, making them feel seen.
Yeah.
Just these beautiful things that are really connecting and bonding, but definitely are foreplay, because if you're having this great day with your partner and then you're like, okay, like,
I'm more open to the idea because my needs are being met. Yeah. So if you are in a parenting situation, maybe it's like, okay, mom usually puts the kids to bed, but dad's going to take that tonight so she can have some extra time to herself. It's thinking of your partner and their needs so they can more fully arrive in the moment when the time comes.
Yeah. And I don't think like a sneaky, like, I'm going to do this so I can get this.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Not manipulative.
Yeah. But in
A caring gesture.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if someone is a maybe and then they decide, okay, we did some foreplay, or we had some time cuddling, or I did take that shower, and you know what? It's really not going to happen.
Yeah, it's still a no.
It's okay to say no to our partner, and it's really important for our partner to also respect that.
Right.
And then soothe themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's to understand, like, it's
right. This is a collaborative relationship. So yeah, you have to, just like anything else, we have to compromise, right?
Yeah.
And keep the communication open. And yeah, I love what you said about a rain check. Yeah, I guess it's not tonight, but you know, I will
how about tomorrow?
Get into the headspace where maybe this is a possibility tomorrow. Totally.
You know, and that brings me back to the accelerator and breaks again, because if we think about someone initiating and having these different styles of initiation, but what puts on the brakes for a partner, for example, is body image. So that can be a really tricky one. And that's how sex and therapy can often pair too, right? Because if you're experiencing a lot of body image issues, you know, many times the brakes will be on. Many times it'll be like, anyway, initiating feels uncomfortable. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want you to feel my body. And then that's impacting the partner. How is that impacting our relationship?
Right.
And it creates this whole loop.
Yeah.
And then it interferes in other ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is anything coming to mind, like thinking on maybe some therapy sessions that you've had where you worked on body image, and what were some things that were healing? Like, for instance, for a woman in this scenario where she felt like she could be vulnerable enough to open up sexually when maybe body image is really the big break.
Well, I think definitely doing some work around befriending your body and getting more comfortable in your body again. So if it is a new body because you are a postpartum mom, or if you know, gained 30 pounds for whatever reason, it's a new body to adjust to. So how do we now get comfortable with our new body and adjust to our body? And what parts do we enjoy or like about our body? What does our body do for us? Reframing all of these things. So just doing some deeper body image stuff.
I love that.
And
hearing like kindness.
And
it
always goes back to kindness and compassion.
Yeah. Like for a postpartum mom, think of what I have done, what my body has been able to do to bring life into this world, right? And maybe feed this baby even. Like so many things are different in my body because I've just done something miraculous, you know?
And that's why couples therapy is so helpful, because then in that session, that partner can be there, and then they can hear someone experiencing that. And then, you know, they can talk to their partner about what they would need from them to feel more comfortable, or, you know, start to feel like they are open to a little bit of touch, or, you know.
And so often those conversations, like the one you're describing right now, aren't happening at home. And like, speaking of vulnerability, like how vulnerable to like
and
sit
how do
your
you bring
partner
that
down.
up?
Honey, there's something I need to talk to you about. Like, I'm not loving how I'm feeling in my body, and sex is, you know, bringing up a lot for me. Great if you can have those conversations, but a lot of people really struggle, and especially sleep deprived parents.
Oh
like,
my
can
gosh,
you imagine sitting
and
down?
that's why rain checking and scheduling
for
very great for
for
parents.
And so a therapist just holding that safe container and asking those vulnerable questions that, you know, can open up a really deep deep conversation for people is huge. So often it's like one question that I ask, and then the couple really takes over.
Yeah.
You know, at first I'll ask the question and they're responding to me. And then sometimes it's the simple like suggestion of like, okay, can you turn to your partner and say that? And then, I'm just holding the container, keeping it safe. And, another question or observation will be made. But so often it's just like, let's carve out this hour for our relationship. I'll ask the hard questions, make a safe container, and like, let's dive into this together.
Yeah.
So yeah, couples therapy, I can't recommend it enough.
Yes. Every couple needs it. Yeah. The other thing that puts on the brakes is trauma.
Yeah.
That would be a really big one.
For
Either
sure.
sexual trauma or just experiencing like some kind of trauma living in our body and putting us in that state where we can't fully feel comfortable or safe.
I don't know. This is me, truly asking as somebody who doesn't like have an EMDR background or anything. Do you have any resources that you can give for clients that have some sort of trauma history that's still plaguing them? It hasn't been cleared through EMDR, talk therapy, and they're struggling in their sex relationship. Like something she might be able to do in that moment to tend to that trauma and still like try to connect with their partner while like holding both, right?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest things we talk about, and trauma and sex is not my specialty at all. So I'm sure there are some other amazing therapists out there that have some more resources. But a few things that I talk to clients about is having a safe word. So if at any point there is any kind of trigger or anything comes up that feels unsafe or brings up some emotions, then saying your safe word and pausing there. It goes back to building just like that safety and comfort and trust and building up all of that before we can access that.
Yep. And I think safety and trust and vulnerability need to be built outside of the bedroom.
Oh, for sure.
If we want to expect that in such a vulnerable moment.
Same with spontaneity too. I've talked to people about that too. If we want to be more spontaneous in the bedroom, then let's be more spontaneous outside of the bedroom. Let's
build that muscle.
Yeah. Let's try some fun foods. Let's start with that. Let's go on a roller coaster. Going.
Try some new things. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it is wild to me that like some couples therapy happens without talking about sex because it is so representative in a lot of ways of the health of the relationship.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because it's all about communication and trust and vulnerability. And those things translate in and out of the sex space, right?
And if we can't be emotionally naked with our partner, then we can't really be physically naked with them and feel safe. Like first, let's be emotionally naked and raw and real with our partner, and our sex will really be that much better.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about sex? Are there topics that you want to talk about?
Sex episodes? Let's talk about sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me.
Yeah.
Let us know because, this is an important topic. I think it's a really fun topic and let's normalize it. So, let us know in the comments if that's something that you want to hear more about. Or DM us if it feels like you're not quite ready to be out there about sex yet.
Yeah.
We'll get you there.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting, everyone.
Absolutely.
This was really fun.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for hanging with us on This Is Not Therapy. If you enjoyed today's conversation, come back next time for more real talk, unfiltered moments, and maybe a little bit of laughter. Until then, take care of yourself, and don't forget, this is not therapy.